Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think there is a different impact on different industries. And two kind of examples kind of stick to mind, and these probably aren't the only two. The first one is, I think the maturity changes industry by industry. And I'll explain a bit more in a minute. The second one for me is actually, when we think of cybersecurity, I think we often think of the direct company. But very much in Europe, we are built up of supply chains, partnerships, ecosystems. And actually what happens is small companies now get caught in the crossfire of requirements of bigger, more mature organizations. So I do think there's a challenge there, which is company A might be a small, dedicated SMB that makes some very specific capability that maybe supplies into the defense industry. Now suddenly the bar on them is going to be raised because they're part of that bigger ecosystem. If I think, kind of coming back to that broader industry space, I think there's two things in here. Firstly, we see different maturities. And the reason we see those different maturities is experience in threat. Financial services, for example, has had to deal very much predominantly with cybercrime for 2 decades and has so permanently been looking as to what are the new threats, what are the new capabilities, and how do I keep pace, how do I keep pace with that, and how do I find the balance point. If I look at maybe the retail industry, I think the retail industry has, in the last couple of years, started to suffer more of the sort of attacks that financial services have hit, but haven't got that legacy experience, haven't got that knowledge, haven't got the skills, and very often haven't got the same budget to invest. So I think both kind of legacy knowledge and experience, and also their ability to apply those controls relevant historically to what's going to come in the future is changing. But what I should say, if I look at the regulation, the data protection regulation reform is very clear because it talks about regard for state-of-the-art, relevant to your risk. So I think it still keeps that healthy balance of saying, if you hold lots of information that's very important, then you need to be really close to state-of-the-art. If maybe you just hold a little bit of information and in much smaller volume, then you don't need to be so close. Critical national infrastructure, which is the other part of the regulation, the Network Information Security Directive, that really aims at the kind of the cream of the crop, those things that keep society functioning. But even in that space, there are different maturities. But now all of these will be expected to be at that state-of-the-art level and the supply chain that sits behind them.